Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and we're talking about the best games of 2023. And today I'm talking about unique games. Games that are interesting, different, that have a different feel to them. I'm always looking for stuff like that. Now, whenever we talk about unique games, people are like, is a game, is this truly unique? Well, maybe, it's hard to, there's nothing new under the sun, right? But I'm looking for things that, to me at least, feel different. So here are my 10 games that I thought were very unique. Number 10 is Maps of Mystera. Maps of Mystera is a game in which you are exploring a cartographer. You're going out in an island, and there's an island board in the middle of the table, and you're going out and placing these terrain on it. And as you place the terrain, at first you look at the terrain, but if someone else says, yes, that terrain is actually there, then that terrain is there. It's done. Two people agree, it's there. Here's the deal. You're marking stuff on your map, and you have terrain on your map that you have your own little board, and it may not match the board, because your client who sent you out might want a lot of mountains in the land. You're like, look, there's a lot of mountains. So you are, A, trying to match the board. You get points that way, but you also get points not necessarily for matching the board, but for matching what your client wants. That's a unique, interesting theme, and so that's why it's on my list here. Kutnahora, the City of Silver. Okay, so this one is interesting in many different ways. I know we got raked over the coals because I said, I like the game okay, not great, which is, man, people told us we were wrong on that one. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of really interesting things in this game of mining for silver, and there's a neat economic back and forth where if I make the price of things go up, other prices go down. There's these little computers where these cards and sliders in the game show you the thing, which would require lots and lots of charts otherwise. And that mechanism alone, I think, makes this game unique. It's a Euro game with a ton of back and forth interaction and has a lot of uniqueness because of that. Next, we have Sail. Well, Sail, besides having gorgeous artwork on it, Sail from All Play Games here is interesting because it is a trick-taking game. Well, that's not interesting. There's a lot of trick-taking games. For 2 players. Well, that's different. And it's cooperative. Huh? It's weird. It is a trick-taking game with very little communication that's cooperative as you're trying to move a ship down the board. And I find it to be such a fascinating idea. You're playing this game and you're working together and trying to move around obstacles and get to the end. And I'm a big trick-taking fan. My favorite trick-taking game is, of course, The Crew, which is a cooperative one. But I didn't think trick-taking works well with 2 most of the time. It doesn't. And making it work cooperatively is tricky. But here, both come together very impressively. Quibbles is my next one. Quibbles is a little weird, fast card game that you are trying to be the first to collect cards that are worth 21 points. And you're playing cards in front of you in groups. So it's really weird. I'll play a 5, which lets me take all the 3s and 2s on the table. Or I play a 3 and 2, which lets me take all the 5s on the table. And then you're also busting each other's hands and getting rid of cards from each other's hands. There's a lot going on in this card game. It's weird. It has funky artwork. And I'll tell you, I read the rules and I was like, I have no idea how this is going to play. And I played it and it just feels different. I like it. It's interesting. Quibbles. Next, we have Empire's End from John DeClaire and Brother Wise game. This is a game about your empire being destroyed. Well, that's not particularly pleasant, and the game isn't particularly pleasant. You have an empire in front of you, and as time goes by, catastrophes are going to happen, and there is no way you're going to avoid all of them. In fact, there's a good chance you'll end with half your empire in ruins at the end of the game. That's just a different feel. Now, the game takes some ideas. It takes a lot from No Thanks, right? The idea of you're bidding on a catastrophe, and finally someone takes a catastrophe, but it does so in different and unusual ways. When you take a catastrophe, you get all the chips people bid on it, the resources, but you also get a bonus, which is kind of a unique, weird thing. And there's this very taut balance of, I want to take these things sometimes. Very interesting game, Empire's End. Bonsai is next on the list. Bonsai is about, well, building a bonsai tree. And I am impressed so much with how the mechanisms of this game cause you to build a bonsai tree. You are putting out tiles. You are building this tree. And when you're done, you have a bonsai tree in front of you. But yet there's still a game. Yet you're still following rules. There's rules on what flowers are where, what trees parts are where, making it go off to the side somehow. All this stuff comes together in a really well done fashion. And it's a work of art in front of you. You are building the tree itself. Just very unique and interesting. Almost Innocent. So this is another game that's a cooperative deduction game. And I think that's what makes it unique for me. I like the artwork in this game from Satoshi Matsura. This colossal game here, which you are trying to figure out who done it, essentially, and you have a grid. But each person has the answers for the person next to them, and you're all asking one question, which everyone gives answers to the person to their left. And that works really well. I haven't seen that before. Usually a deduction game is either very competitive, I want to be the first one to find it, or everyone is working together to do one thing. Here, everyone is cooperative, but you're trying to find your own thing in front of you. The same game. So this is a party game, and it's so interesting to me because in this game, and this is a tough one to teach at first, it's not a very complicated game to play, but you are writing down two things that are the same in only one of the ways that are out on the board. So maybe if I say there's a ruler and a worm, they are the same in length, and that is it. They're not the same in their value to humanity. They're not the same in their value that when you buy them at the store. They're not the same in weight. They're not the same in material. Now, maybe you might say, well, some of them are. And that's what's tricky about the game. You are trying to pick two things that are not the same in some manner or fashion. Very intriguing game from Wolfgang Warsch that just felt so different than most party games I play. Noobs in Space is my number 2 here. Noobs in Space is such a weird little game. The name alone made me go, eh. In this game, you deal out cards to everybody. They have them in their hand. And somebody has to play the first card. You know what it is because it says 1 on it. After that, you just follow the instructions. You can talk all you want. You can say anything you want. You just have to do what the instructions say. And it's hilarious, it's funny, and it just feels so refreshingly different than any game I've ever played. If you're ever at a convention and they have Noobs in Space, this is a great way. Grab some other people and sit down and play it. You will have a blast. And my number 1 unique game from this year is from CMYK, and that is Lacuna. So Lacuna is a game in which you're collecting flowers, and you basically put flowers out in this board, and then you're placing things out, trying to be the closest to different things that are out there. And it's done in such a unique way. You're drawing a line between 2 flowers, and then you're putting a pawn there. And then you're going to collect these flowers, but you're also trying to be close to everything else. And what a neat concept. I really liked how this plays. Some people aren't going to like it because it's a little imprecise, right? Just where you put stuff. But it feels refreshing. It's different. It's a cloth map. It feels like a game you might buy at your local odds and ends store. You know, whatever, some weird little game. But that made my number 1 unique game. What are your favorite unique games? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the best of 2023 on the Dice Tower.